Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another FIFA 22 video where today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my key tips, and it is answering a question when it comes to how to score more goals with wingers. Now this is a question that I have been asked a fair amount, especially recently, because sort of wing formations have become a little bit more popular for certain people, and a lot of people have asked me, how can I score more goals on wingers? How can I get them more involved in the game? Now, traditionally, in a formation like this, the 4-3-3-4, a very good formation, a very good attacking formation, and definitely something that I've recommended many times before if you are looking for a bit more of an attacking offensive formation. But one of the issues with wing formations is it's very difficult to get the wingers involved. They are there more as decoys and just used as part of the build-up play, but they never end up getting too many assists or goals. So today I'm going to be sharing with you some of the key tips that you can implement if you want to get more goals with your wingers. And one of the first things when it comes to your tactics especially is the narrower that you can play, the narrower the starting position of your wingers. A lot of people, when they play wing formations, like to go the opposite way and like to go really, really wide on maybe something like 80, because obviously you're playing with wingers, you want the width. And that makes sense, because if you're playing with wingers, you're obviously saying, I want to have some options out wide. But then if you push your wingers out wide, then they're obviously going to be less involved in the build-up play. They're going to be less involved when it comes to the ball going in the back of the net, to passing the ball. So when it comes to them creating chances, they're not going to be in the right positions because they're going to be stuck out wide. So one of the things that you need to do is play on a narrower width when you play a wing formation. So something like 40 width is going to be a really good option, because it's going to mean that your starting position of your wingers is a lot more narrow. So in this 4-3-3-4 formation, as you can see, where we've got Ronaldo and Son out on the wings, they're going to be a lot narrower. They're going to be a lot tighter. So it means your midfield is also going to be a lot tighter. It does mean that your opponent is going to have a lot more space out wide. So when it comes to them going up the wings themselves, they're going to have a lot more options, and it's going to be a lot easier because your midfield is going to be tighter. Your wingers are going to be tighter. So it's going to allow your opponents to get out on the wings a lot easier. But it is also going to make you a lot more difficult to break down the midfield. There's going to be a lot less space between your midfielders. So people are going to have to be forced to go out wide. So with that better starting position, it allows your wingers to get involved in the game a lot more because they've got a better starting position. Another thing that comes to the tactics and more now to the instructions is the chance creation. Now we have cut inside, we have free roam, we have stay wide, and we have balance width. Now, of course, they're all very, very self-explanatory, but of course, one thing for me that works very, very well is cut inside. A lot of people like to use, especially if you want to get the wingers more involved. I like to use free roam when it comes to this. Free roam seems to give them a lot more room to move, you know, and it's very, very self-explanatory. Obviously, free roam means they drift around a lot more, and I prefer this to rather than cut inside. Cut inside is a lot more effective, especially when you have the wingers, your fullbacks, sorry, pushing up the field. When you have fullbacks getting forwards and being on the outside, it now means you have a 2-on-1. So cut inside is a lot more effective if you have your fullbacks going forward. So when you don't have the fullbacks going forwards, it's not as effective. From my own experiences, my own testing, I find that free roam is a lot more effective because you'll find those wingers on the inside a lot more. You'll find them in sort of almost like in a 4-3-2-1 in a lot of sense. They'll be like inside forwards when they're on free roam. They find themselves a lot more on the inside of the pitch. So Son might pick up the ball in sort of a false 9 position, and he's able to run the ball through to Haaland, or maybe it's the other way around. Haaland gets the ball and Son is narrower and he's closer and he's tighter to your striker to be able to dink that ball in behind, and then he's going to get more goals. So when you have this guy on free roams, both of your wingers on free roams, they do drift around a lot more, and they're in a lot better positions to be able to pick up sort of loose balls, and then whether it be playing passes through to quicker strikers, or whether it be on the receiving end of a give and go or something like that, they're at least in a better starting position. And that's what's more important when trying to get the wingers involved. You need to get them in a better starting position because naturally they start out a little bit wider. Now, in some formations like a 4-4-2, for example, you have obviously a flat four in midfield, 2 centre mids, and a left mid and a right mid. In this instance, it is a bit more difficult to get those left and right mids involved in the play, because whilst you could have a narrower width, for example, if you play on 40 again, it means your midfield is going to be really, really tight. But the bigger issue when it comes to formations like this is your starting position is very, very deep. Whereas, yes, it's wide, but it's a lot deeper. It's deeper than a winger. It's deeper than an inside forward. So any runs that your left and right mids are going to make are coming from a lot deeper of a position. So when it comes to instructions, you can still have them on free roam, but you of course have to partner them up with getting behind, because in this instance they're going to be making those deep runs in behind, but it's going to be a little bit easier for opponents to pick them up, because yes, they're going to be in a lot better positions because they're going to be drifting around, especially in the final third, but the runs are coming from a deeper position, so it's a lot easier for your opponent to pick up a run when you can see it coming. Let's say you're in the final third and you know Son makes a run from 30 yards in behind. It's a lot easier for your opponent to pick it up. So with left and right mids, I would try and play it a little bit different, and I maybe wouldn't try and force to get these guys involved in the play as much. I think you need to use them a little bit smarter, and maybe this isn't the best way to use left and right midfielders. So when it comes to your tactics and instructions and some other bits and bobs in terms of getting your wingers more involved in the game, they are some setups that I would absolutely recommend. Now, obviously, wing formations are becoming a little bit more popular with certain individuals, especially with the quality of player we're getting. You know, obviously players have like Vinicius. We're going to be getting Neymar very, very soon, team of the season. So if you can afford those guys, you want to know how to get those guys a little bit more involved in your attacking play. Hopefully you found something useful from this video. If you did, make sure you drop a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. But that's all today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.